Hi, Shanna Forrestall here, and I'm here with Jane Miners, who is a Reiki master here in Chico, California. And we're here to talk today a little bit about self-care. We've been here 3 weeks past the disaster that happened here, this big fire, a campfire. And we thought that it was time to sit down and have a conversation about how we can take care of ourselves when we're going through something that's this difficult and this devastating. I know I've worked multiple relief situations, and one of the things I see, Jane, is that people just kind of forget to take care of themselves.
Yes.
Yes. I think especially sometimes women, we get so caught up with taking care of everyone else, looking after the kids, looking after everyone, that we forget what self-care is, and we forget how impactful that negative event was and how it might take a while to kind of recover from that. So let's talk about that a little bit. Like, what do you think about recovery? What do you think is going to need to happen here?
Well, just to step back a little, for my own self-care, since this has happened, it's been a little journey. The first few days, you just completely in shock and off balance, and feeling the trauma and the collective energy of the fear and the anxiety.
Right.
So it took a few days for me to really pay attention to what was going on inside my body. And Luckily I also teach yoga, and so I had a few classes scheduled, and yoga is one of the best ways to get inside of your body and start taking care of yourself.
Right.
So even though it was a little wacky, and my first few classes, people were processing their grief, and we were kind of spending time. It was really gentle classes, and we were talking, but it kind of started to get the ball rolling into some sense of normalcy, some sense of self-care, because we all have our tendencies to maybe stuff food in our face, or and I was doing some of that myself, but making sure that it doesn't get totally off balance, and finding that comfort, but still making sure that you're taking care of yourself is so important. So after maybe the initial shock of finding someone that you can talk to, or getting a massage, or allowing yourself to cry and allowing yourself to feel the emotions, because I think so much people, historically, we've been taught to don't be angry, don't allow yourself to feel the sadness, and it's so important to allow ourselves. So these types of things, Reiki is a wonderful way to help with that process and just care for the self.
So I would say it probably starts first with self-awareness. That's what I'm getting from your story.
Yes.
Especially when you're in the midst of crisis. Like if you've been displaced and you're living somewhere that's not your home, and you're, everybody around you's upset, and then you've lost everything that pretty much physical that mattered to you.
You almost go numb.
Some people have lost pets and houses and memorabilia that meant something to them. Family photos. All this stuff is gone, right? And you're processing the shock of that. So having that check-in. How do we check in? How do we check in with ourselves? What does it take? Is it just, do you have to do yoga? Or is there something, what if they don't do yoga? What can they do to check in with themselves?
Yeah, you don't have to do yoga. You just, really, it's checking in with yourself. And it can be as simple as just stopping to take a moment to just breathe.
Right.
Notice your body. Just feel your clothes on your body, because a lot of times we're just thinking and our thoughts are out there, but we can just check in by just stopping for a moment. I like to place my hand on my chest to just kind of be like, all right, I'm here. I can feel my body. And then usually that quietness happens and the emotions start to come up, or you might get a little idea of what would be good for you to do, or the next step to take.
And for people who practice yoga or who practice meditation regularly, I think it's a little easier, when you're in the midst of chaos, to go, okay, let me recenter myself, because I know what that feels like. But I would say, some of us, you live in a busy, hectic way already, and then this happens, and you're like, I don't even know how to find that center, you know? So what she's saying is so important, because it really doesn't have to be one particular way. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to go to an hour yoga class to connect to yourself. Literally, it is just you sitting there, paying attention to yourself.
Just feeling your body.
Breathing, and just feeling your body. Some people like to put their hand on their chest, or maybe just feel your feet touching the ground. Right? It's that simple, isn't it? Or smell something, smell a flower, connect to nature. That's one thing we forget to do too, is just touch a tree, feel a leaf, look at the color of the fall leaves right now, and just bring yourself to the present, right?
Yes, exactly. Bringing yourself to the present moment, because most of the time we're whittling about and not paying attention.
Way back there, worried about, concerned about what already happened, or we're fretting about what hasn't happened. Yeah, I know me, I'm a future fretter. I'm always thinking about the future, like, what's going to happen, what's going to go wrong, what can I fix, what can I do? I don't know. And I have to reel myself back to here. Some people are back here, thinking about what just happened. And look, it's totally understandable.
We all do it.
But to give ourselves the gift of being present is hugely important, right?
It is.
So when we get there, we get present.
That's the first step.
Right? We're like, okay, I know who I am.
Yeah.
I'm here. I know where I'm at. I'm in Chico. I'm in a room. I'm in my clothes. I'm present, right?
Yes.
Then what can we ask ourselves? What do I need?
What do we need?
Is it that simple? What do I need?
What do I feel?
What do I feel? That's a good question.
Because usually when we come to the present, we're actually able to feel.
Yeah.
And
because you're right, we get numb, right? Because sometimes because we're running around and you know what, granted, it has to happen. In times of emergency, we have that adrenaline for a reason, but I think we get stuck there and we start running on adrenaline instead of being present, and then we're maybe not making the best decisions.
Absolutely. And that's our defense mechanism. Like at times we need to be numb.
It's survival.
So
and
we can
it
survive.
needs to happen, but
not staying there. So coming to the present, checking in, feeling, what do you feel?
Right.
Letting the emotions feel, and our emotions are like our cues for what we need.
Right.
So if we can feel whatever emotion, if we're feeling the sadness or we're feeling the anger, usually that's going to tell us like, oh, hey, I need to call my mom, or it'd be a really good time for me to take a bath.
Yeah.
Or, you know.
But again, I would say that, some of us, we try to practice that. I know I'm a big feeler. I'm an empath on many, many levels. I feel enough for all of us.
Yes.
So I've learned to have to pay attention to myself and tap into that regularly and go, Shanna, what are you feeling and what do you need to do about it? But what if they haven't been practicing feeling? Because hey, you might be a mom with a bunch of kids and a job and there's stuff going on, right? So what if they haven't been feeling regularly, and then they start to ask themselves, what do I feel? And it's scary, where they don't know how to feel it.
Right.
Or what to do about it when they do feel it.
And I think that's the thing. It's a practice. And I think there's this common misconception that we have to have it figured out. And once you start becoming present, like you should know exactly what to do, and or you're always feeling, and it's, that's perfect. And that's just not the way it is. No. We're human, and when we practice feeling, when we practice being in the moment, it becomes easier. Yeah. And sometimes we'll go back, and then sometimes we're doing great. Right. And allowing ourselves to feel those overwhelming emotions can be a lot at first, but if we keep practicing and we keep coming back to that, eventually it becomes easier. Yeah. But it's not like it's ever like, okay, I got it all figured out.
I'm perfect now. No, it's never that. But she's right. If we practice and look, understand that there's almost like a release valve once you kind of learn to use it. You don't have to let everything be big and scary and let out way more than you can handle. You can feel a little bit. You can go a little bit at a time. What do I feel in my body? What do I feel in my shoulder? Right. Right now I have tension in my shoulder. I feel that because I paid attention to it. I was putting it out, but I just realized I have tension in my shoulder. Why?
And then you can say, what
can I do about it? Right? So you can do that with your whole self, not just your physical body, but with your mind. Ask yourself, how do I feel today? Maybe you feel sad and you don't even know why. Okay, what can I do? Maybe I need to just go take a bath and breathe. Turn on some music that I like. Maybe I need to stretch. Go for a walk. Yeah. Like look at the leaves and think about fall for a minute rather than the stuff that you're dealing with. Sometimes we feel consumed by the decisions, or consumed by the amount of work we have to do. And I know I've learned if I feel overwhelmed by the amount of work I do, I stop. My pattern used to be to just run frenetically and into that madness and just go, I'm going to do as much as possible and go crazy, right? Yeah. But now I've learned, when I feel that anxiety and work, I just stop. I walk away from it. I literally get up and walk away from the computer and go, Shanna, you're going to stop and you're going to breathe, go for a 10-minute walk, go in my yard, put my bare feet in the grass, pet my cat, whatever, and then center, and then come back and go, now what do we have to do? And then I'm in a much clearer space to make better decisions, to work more efficiently, more effectively, with less stress. right?
Absolutely.
So we practice this.
We have to take care of ourselves first and foremost.
Yeah,
otherwise,
and we forget that.
Yeah, we don't have...
We give everything away, and then we have nothing. We run out, and then when we run out, it doesn't just affect us, which it does deeply, but it affects everybody that's been benefiting from the gifts that we have to give. And so we have to take care of ourselves first, and that's hard sometimes, but
it's that lesson
crucial.
of self-love that some people get the idea like, oh, that's selfish, and it's not that at all.
No.
It's honoring and respecting ourselves so that we can help others and we can serve and use our gifts, or just be a mom or be a friend.
Yeah, and if you don't practice it, you sit on the outside sometimes and you think, that's selfish. They spend so much time taking care of themselves, But it's like, no, when I take care of myself, honestly, when I learn the value, and this has only happened to me in the last couple of years where I've actually learned the value of who I am without anything else, not based on what I do, but just the fact that I'm here and I'm a human, that's enough. When that started to sink into me, all of a sudden I got a new respect for everybody, a new love, a greater love for every human, every animal, every tree. It's like your love only grows. When you turn that into self-care and self-love, it doesn't make you less of a lover, it makes you more of a lover.
Right, absolutely.
Because you go, if I don't have to earn love, then no one does. We just deserve it.
Yep.
Just because we're here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's a huge revelation that I think our whole planet needs to get a hold of, right?
I think we're starting to wake up to that. And it's exciting.
It is. So going back to like what's happening right now in Chico, there's families been displaced. There's families who've been through serious trauma, running from fire, trying to rescue, losing people,
cars catching
friends,
on fire
families,
as they're driving
animals.
out of town.
I mean, how terrifying. There is a certain amount of PTSD that's going to come with that, that's going to trigger, it might trigger memories, it might trigger nightmares, it might trigger anxiety. I've seen all of those things happen in other natural disasters when these things happen. How do we address that? Because that's sometimes deeper than someone can do on their own. They're like, okay, I can take a bath, but that's not going to stop the nightmares of me seeing fire about to engulf my family. So what can we do about the deeper trauma? And I think that's where you and your team come in, because we need help sometimes processing.
We do need help, and it's not going to come from a pill. Our group, we have many different types of holistic healing, and a lot of these modalities have been around for thousands of years. They're just starting to become more well-known. They're just starting to gain popularity. One of the best things you can do, I think, after a traumatic event is receive acupuncture or massage. And a lot of people get scared about acupuncture because they're needles and they're scary, but there's Acupuncturists Without Borders, actually, they have needleless ear pods, and because all in our ears we can pretty much address everything. And so they just put these little pods on your ears, and what it does is it calms your system, it calms your body, so that your body actually releases the trauma that it's been storing, because our bodies are like storehouses of emotions, and it doesn't go anywhere, it just sits there. So
unless we help it to release it.
So acupuncture can be one of the best ways to help release the trauma. Right before the fires, I was in a car accident, and it was really traumatic. And acupuncture was so key in helping my body just to kind of settle. I think that's a wonderful way to help.
I'm doing it weekly right now because I had a car accident a year ago, and
it helps.
And I will tell you, the first time I went, I was so scared of needles. I had a bad old experience from when I was a child, but it's nothing. The first time they just did this, I passed out, and I woke up, and the guy was like, "Oh, he didn't want it to stop." I said, "No, it didn't hurt. It was my fear that went off. Y'all, it's nothing. I promise." Now I go every week, and I'm covered in needles, and I love it.
And it's very relaxing.
It's soothing.
It gives your body that
healing. So even if you're afraid, don't be afraid. You don't have to look at it even. The first year, I was like, I can't look at it now. I don't care. And they just pinned me up. I'm like a little pin doll. But it's wonderful, right?
Yes,
what it does to your system. And most of the clinics have a beautiful atmosphere for you to just decompress. I go to a community clinic sometimes, so I'm there with other people, and there's a beautiful community of like, oh, let's all get well together. Let's all relax together. It's lovely. So acupuncture is great.
Acupuncture is wonderful.
And then Reiki, what do you do?
Reiki is wonderful too. I've been able to give a lot of Reiki to people, and Reiki just induces the self-healing process in the body. So it relaxes your body enough to where you can calm down, you can breathe. And Reiki is, I say, absolutely one of the best things that you can do for self-care, along with massage and, sound therapy. There's a lot of things, but Reiki, the energy goes into your system. It's kind of like acupuncture, except you're actually receiving energy.
Right.
And so your whole body is filled and just basically comes back into a homeostasis.
And I've had a couple experiences in Reiki where, I during the process, I would have certain memories come up from trauma and things, and I was able to release things from certain, I could literally feel like heavy, bad stuff moving out of my body. And then, like she said, receiving of positive, beautiful, peaceful energy. So it is really important.
It is.
And sometimes we can't do that ourselves. Like I'm a total empath and I carry everything. Right. So having assistance with releasing some of that old trauma has been really important for me.
Well, and I think too in our culture, we've been taught like, oh, you just do it yourself. Be quiet, go write in your journal or talk to your counselor. But we need help. We're not meant to heal alone.
Right.
And like receiving care, it's kind of like, when you massage yourself, you're like, oh yeah, that feels good. Yeah. But when somebody else does it, it feels really good.
Yes.
And you actually get more out of it. So
and if you're not familiar, it's not scary either.
Reiki is wonderful.
Nothing happens. Like they don't even really touch you most of the time. It's just, they're just giving you beautiful energy. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't, there's nothing scary about it.
And Reiki itself, it's just universal life force energy. So
you know what? I bet a lot of you do Reiki without knowing it. When you love on your pet or you receive, or your child, there's a beautiful love energy that comes through you. That's all it is. It's like the beauty of a hug in a very condensed, powerful form, right? Yes. Without even having to touch. It's so strong and beautiful. So that's what a gift.
It is a gift.
And so you guys, you've been putting together a group of people who do these different modalities.
Right.
And then you guys are doing like a clinic.
Clinics, yes. So along with Reiki, massage, acupuncture, we also have people that do sound therapy and, even like things like float therapy. There's a lot that I'm not thinking about right now, like chiropractic. Yeah. Obviously, there's lots of things in different modalities in our group, but since the campfire, all of us, our whole community, just everybody wants to do something. Yeah. Everybody wants to help. Which is lovely. And so this has given us an opportunity to create a free clinic for people that need it. Yeah. And so we're having all the different modalities that we can get with lots of volunteers. Lots of people are coming. We're having people that are not in our group coming to volunteer, hairstylists, eyebrow people, counseling. There's all sorts of things.
You got to look cute when you get well. I'm just saying.
Right, but you know what? It's nice, and
it's important, and it feels good. Like it's a little thing, but when your eyebrows are crazy, you feel crazy.
Yeah, or you forget you need a haircut.
Right, or just self-care gets lost sometimes, especially in the chaos of what's happening. And you know what? It is important to be touched and to be loved by whoever, hairdressers included.
Yes,
it's important. That's so wonderful what you're doing. So if you're in the affected area and you're an affected person or individual family, take a watch out for what they're doing, because they're going to be doing these clinics every now and then. They're going to post that information, and you can come and take advantage of services. If you want to sponsor that, I'm sure you could reach out to her and maybe send a donation.
We have a fundraiser that's actually on our Facebook page right now. Our Facebook page is The Wellness Collective. It's at Wellness for Being. Part of, what's come up with the clinics is there's a bigger need. So it's not just for people that have lost their homes. It's not just for people that have been traumatized by it. It's for the caretakers. Yeah. It's for even you. If you live in the community and you need care too, because we're all affected. We're all feeling
And compassion fatigue is very real.
Very real.
And when you're an empathetic person and you're out trying to do whatever, just being in the community, you're affected by, like you said, everybody else's trauma affects you too. So don't feel like, just because you didn't lose your house doesn't mean you haven't been affected. You've been affected.
We've all been affected.
So you're open to anyone that feels like they need some care. They can come and take advantage.
And if somebody wants to donate, they don't feel comfortable getting a free service, which we're more than happy to offer. you can make a donation.
That would be lovely, because you know, these caregivers, that is their job, that is how they make a living. So yes, they're willing to donate, and that's wonderful. But you know, maybe we have some donors who say, you know what, I'd like to bless the caregivers so that they don't have to work free every time, or give them a little donation or stipend or something. That would be lovely too.
And a lot of the donations too is we're using, you know, to have like food and snacks and whatever donations that go beyond what we need for the clinics, which will be an ongoing thing. We're kind of still organizing how that's going to look. They're going to be toward paying for services for people that maybe don't feel comfortable coming to the clinic because it's too overwhelming.
If it's too many people, or they need some one-on-one care because it's really intense or deep. So you could sponsor someone's care.
Correct. And one thing I want to say too, we have childcare at our clinic. So there's activities for kids and, you know, yoga classes and meditation.
So if you can't get away and you need a babysitter, someone to entertain them while you're getting treated, or even your child, look, the children need some care right now too.
Do. And there's counselors.
So to have people love on them during that time is just, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you for what you're doing. And, you know, I think you're right. It starts with a journey, a personal journey. Yeah. And then when we start to stabilize and figuring out how can we be part of the healing in our community and in our world.
That we can do it together.
Yeah.
And we don't have to do it alone. And that's a beautiful thing that's come together with this group, is like we all want to help and we all want to help, but when we can come together and we can create something like this clinic and have a service program, we're doing something much bigger for the community, something that can go on beyond just the first couple weeks, because this healing process is going to take a lot of time. It's going to take a lot of time. And some people's trauma might not come up until later. Yeah. And so it's important for us to be present and to be there and to be offering these services.
Yeah, absolutely. What I've seen is it takes years. Yeah. You know, in the anniversaries, there's going to be a trigger, and then certain events in your life, or when something's missing, you know, a person or an animal or just a memento that you used to have that meant something to you. All those things will be little triggers. So we need to continue to release that grief and to move on and to find hope and to find the beauty in what's happening. Because I'm telling you, as much as there is darkness, there's always light. And the light is so beautiful in these moments, starting with people that reach out and love. So if you need care, especially if you're a caregiver, don't forget about you. Come in. Get services. We've been talking to nurses who've been working extended hours, to home service people who have been going above and beyond. There are so many people who are going above and beyond. If that's you, get in here. Get your Reiki, get your massage, get your love, and then go back out and give some more away. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Take care of yourself.